Hello and welcome to the Survivor Kanata retrospective featuring Tyler Kakuno, the winner
Well,
of Survivor Kanata. All right, well, I'm the host, Jara, and we're just going to talk about, season 3. We're going to go in depth. We're going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit each episode as Tyler gives his thoughts on the season, the contestants, and the gameplay. So, Tyler, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We filmed the reunion. It was last night, and thank you for giving me fan favorite. By the way, thank you again. It's pretty cool. So I'm in a good mood.
No problem. It was the fans who voted you as fan favorites, though. So
No, yeah,
I
no. I'm
didn't
saying
they
thank
do
you to the
anything.
fan. I'm looking at the fans right now. I'm talking
Oh,
to them through the camera.
right. I don't have a camera. How are you, Teaghan?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Just excited to be here. I'm honored.
Yeah, no problem. It's awesome to have you here. So let's just head right into it. Episode 1. So episode 1 uploaded on February 24 of last year. Huh. Tyler, what stood out to you from that very first episode?
Um, what I found interesting with the first episode was how it almost seemed like Klahowya was much more dysfunctional than our tribe. Like Chichelman was actually very close together. We worked well together. There was no real trouble between anyone, no power shifts or anything like that. But Klahowya was a mess, and the fact that they pulled through the challenges all the time is really surprising. So I didn't realize how much of a mess they were. So yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me probably. And it really brought back memories of going there first, meeting everyone because I didn't know anybody, and just the game starts, and it's so weird when you actually are playing the game. You're like, huh, what do I do now? And you really don't know what to do. You don't.
Coming in, like just watching that episode, what really surprised you from contestant wise?
Um, it really surprised me of how for Klahowya, I was very surprised of how self-aware Sean was. I was really impressed by that. Like when I played with her, I thought she was just a very quiet, sweet girl. Didn't know much about the game, but she knew her place, and I think that's a very important thing if you're going to play your Survivor or the Real Thing or any other YouTube series. You have to know what your reputation is, and you have to know what archetype you are. Sean knew she was a quiet little girl, and that's all she needed to be. She wanted to be like Monica, which is a perfectly fine strategy. And you know what? She almost made it there. She was very close. So I was really impressed with that. Um, Janelle impressed me even more, and Janelle impressed me out there. And I was surprised of how calm Brett was. Because I knew Brett was a fan going into it, and he's like, he's a no, he's not a big guy, but he's like a bit of a bigger guy. He's smart. He's nice. So I thought there was a lot more going on in his head, but he was really just what you saw out there was what you got, and so that was surprising for me for sure. I thought he came up pretty poorly the first episode because I hate those super fans who come in thinking they know everything. Like I was like, I know I'm genuinely a bad person, stuff like that. But it's like you really do go in with that ego, especially
Right.
being a fan. But you almost have to do that because I was masking my real fear of being voted out very early. I was very uncomfortable for the first 2 rounds actually, and I thought you show paranoia, people are going to see it out. So it's like if I act maybe a bit cocky in the confessionals, maybe act more cocky on camera, it'll come off a bit more confident than I felt, and that would attract people to me because confidence attracts people. You want people thinking, I like this guy, I trust him, I'm going to work with them. So for me, it was it was hard to watch, but I understand why I did it, and I understand why anyone doesn't like me, and I probably wouldn't like me either if I was watching the first episode, not knowing who I was. I think if this is filmed 5 years ago, and I was saying what I was saying, I would have been starting off liked a lot too. But I think in the past few seasons of Real Survivor and stuff like that, you always have this super fan like me who says he knows everything and knows how to play this game, and then he is awful. I want to say this to people. I don't think me being a super fan is why I won. I don't think me having prior knowledge of the game is the reason I won and the reason why I was so successful. I will say it helped, but I think there's a lot more to what Survivor is that, just being a big fan, it's very little help out there, actually. So if you're planning on applying and stuff and thinking just because you're a super fan, you're going to win, no, there's a lot more to it. And I hope we get into that in this interview. We will. But listen up. It's not just about knowing everything.
That's awesome. Do you have any other thoughts on episode 1 before we move to the next one?
Yeah, I feel like with episode 1, what you didn't see out there was I talked to Janelle for a little bit, and she seemed to want Brett out. And I remember thinking back then, I was like, okay, so this little 5'3", 14-year-old Filipino girl wants the most athletic guy out on her tribe. If Brett leaves, who's the next most athletic tall guy on the tribe? Oh, it's me. So right there, I'm like, let's not get rid of Brett just yet. I understand why she's saying that, because Brett and her, they're never going to connect. They're never going to mix. That alliance is not going to happen just because of who Brett is and who she is, and they're very different. So that was an interesting thing. She kind of pushed Brett for the first one, but I didn't want to get rid of him right away, especially at that point. It changed next episode, obviously, but that was something you didn't see, and there was a little smidgen of that it could have been Brett the first one gone, but no.
All right, awesome. Okay, so I guess we'll just move on to the next episode.
All right, sweet.
Anything watching episode 2? Anything that surprised you there?
Ramel said I was a tryhard. What the hell was that? It was the first negative thing I heard about me on the show. I was making the Mrs. Robinson jokes and stuff like that, and I like that. It's embarrassing watching back me being a tryhard up there, but there's a reason for that. Like I said, you need to know your reputation in the game and how people view you. It's so important because everyone's labeled out there. On our tribe, Janelle was the sweet, kind girl. Micah was kind of like the worker, she was older than, I think she was the oldest in the tribe, maybe other than Ramel. Ramel was kind of like the nice guy that everyone got along with. Brett was like the athletic guy who worked a lot on camp. And Jenny was the talking all the time, strategist. So I needed my fit, and I thought, well, I can either always talk about strategy and always talk about how much I love Survivor and all this stuff, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to go for the funny guy role. I'm going to just joke around a lot more, hang around camp, not go looking for the idol 24/7, which is a terrible decision to do. If you go out there and play, don't look for the idol right away. Wait till the rest of the tribe does. You don't need it that badly. And yeah, I felt like my reputation is going to be the jokester, but kind of stupid. And if you notice what they said in the reunion, no one ever expected me to be the villain. They just thought I was a funny, nice kid who wasn't that smart. And that's so important. That's such a crucial reason why I won in the end and why I got so far without being targeted is because they didn't take me seriously. I completely made them think this is who I am. Now, not everyone could be the jokester because that may not be you, but you need to find some place that you can fit into that's non-threatening. And I think that's an important thing to do if you ever play this game. Everyone can be something that is threatening or unthreatening. Always be the unthreatening one. You don't want to be taken seriously, which I think some people have a hard time doing because of their ego.
Yeah.
I'd like to add in on what he was talking about. As a camera guy on this season, watching Tyler, I was like, wow, this guy is not threatening in the slightest. Making jokes and not very physically threatening, That's you did a great job. I appreciate it. You're very welcome. And plus, knowing your Survivor history helps too, but also just like the way that you played your role. Great job.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I guess another thing that happens this episode is the entire scene of Brett being shady and just he doesn't want to talk about the vote. How bad of a game did Brett play, or did he play a bad game? Did he just have the wrong cards dealt for him?
I think it was a bit of both. I think Brett is also a big fan of Survivor, and I respect him. He's a good guy, but he probably went in thinking like me. You don't want to overgame. You don't want to talk strategy too much, and that's very smart for the first few rounds. And he was already in a majority alliance. He didn't need to. I was the one who screwed up the challenge. There's really no reason for Brett to go home. But the problem was Brett didn't make you feel comfortable. And I think that's a big thing you need in Survivor. Brett specifically didn't make me feel comfortable. So after losing the challenge, I was in a bit of a frantic mode right there. I'm like, I just lost the challenge for everyone. I feel like I could easily be the first one gone. I'm the second one gone. So I'm almost in kind of scramble mode right now. And I think never count anyone out and watch out for those people in scramble mode. If it looks like there's ever a reason to vote someone out and they know it, make them feel comfortable or they're going to try to pull something. They're not going to sit there and die. So I think Brett didn't read the situation properly because he never really gave me a straight answer. So people calling Brett shady, that's a different story. Brett wasn't that shady. He was loyal to his alliance. He was good to them. What happened was I thought, well, it seems like Brett wants me gone. So I need Brett gone. Even though he's good in challenges, you know what? I don't need that. I knew Janelle already wanted him gone so I could get Micah, but really I wanted to Tribe Unified because when we lost those first two challenges, it sucks, but we still need to be together because if you are unified and strong together, you will do well in the end. And it happened. We did do well. So I talked to Jenny, and I said, Jenny, straight up, Brett doesn't like you. He thinks you're shady, and he wants you gone. He thinks you're overgaming. And she's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, he said that to me. I don't know. He just said it. And lying is interesting in Survivor because people almost always believe you. If it's just a blatant random lie like that, they're probably going to believe it because they have no other thing to go on. They're like, oh, yeah, it's probably true. There's no reason to distrust me yet, so she's just going to take it and say, yeah, Brett is probably after me. And I told Ramel, oh, Brett thinks you're shifty. He doesn't trust you. So I told Jenny and Ramel bad stuff about Brett. And Brett had no idea, and they're not going to confront him right away because it's too early. No one really wants to make confrontation because they're trying to survive in the game. So they're instantly on board to get rid of Brett. I started saying, Brett's a manipulator, stuff like that. He's acting like this nice guy. I'm selling this to the tribe. So everyone just felt like Brett was shady, and he went home because of that, even though he wasn't. He was a good guy. And I feel bad about it, but I think it was the right decision in the end, for me, personally.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have anything else to say about episode 2?
No, I just think episode 2 when I feel like I really got in my groove of how I'm going to play this game. I didn't realize that I think that really gained me trust with people and stuff like that. So I think that was an important stepping stone. I'm like, look, I can make moves in this game. I can take people out. And the game gave me that confidence boost to move forward to start really playing this game. Because it was a bit timidly at first because I didn't really know how to do it. Like, how do you strategize? Like, it sounds weird because when you're watching, like, oh, you go and talk to the person. But it's not that simple. You don't just go say, hey, Teaghan, want to go off and talk for a bit? Oh, Gyro, just stay here. Don't worry. Like, there's a song and dance to it, and it's hard to do. So, it takes you a while to get in the groove.
All right, so next episode, I think a main standout from this episode, is the revelation of, the lie.
Yes.
And yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the lie was, okay, so I'll give a shout out to my two friends, Dylan and Wyatt. They're from Tengaged. Great guys. I knew I was going to play I knew I was going to play, right? I knew I was doing this. And so, of course, if you know you're going to play this, do your research. And I'm not meaning go watch CBS Survivor, because it's not what it is. This is not CBS Survivor. It's a bit different. Watch YouTube Survivors. I watched Heiko. I watched Survivor Bush, and I obviously watched your seasons. And there's a common trend that would always happen. If you played a villainous game, or you lied and manipulated, you almost always lose in the final two. They never give the villain the win. So that's the kind of game I want to play. That's what I know I'm good at. I'm good at manipulating people. I'm good at, making you feel good and then, stabbing them back. And watching season 1, Franny lost by 1 vote. And there's something interesting that I saw there that instantly made me think of it. It was Bryant. Bryant is casting his vote for Monica to win. He's like, look, Franny, you played a great game for $1 million. But I don't know if what you did was worth $500. Basically saying, hey, look, you did stuff, you lied to us, you made us look dumb, but it was only for $500. So was it really worth it? And that's a great point to me. It's like, yeah, it's only you're gonna scumbag people out of this game for $500? That's messed up. So I was like, well, what if I raise the stakes a bit? What if I really need this money? How can I make people think I need this money? So I'm like, well, I can't be like, oh, I have cancer, I'm dying, I need medication. Because A, we live in Canada, it's free healthcare. And B, I don't think $500 is going to change anything. And I can't be like, oh, I have a kid and he's starving to death because, again, $500 isn't going to change anything. So I made the story with my friends Dylan and Wyatt that I have a son who's turning 1 and I just want to throw him a really good birthday party. I wanted to make it believable, not too extreme, but sad and emotional. So, yeah, being a manipulator and lying to people may not be worth $500, but you know what? If it puts $1 million smile on my son's face, it's worth it. So that was kind of my goal, to swing it that way. And then, you know, I made his name, I made a weight, when did he start learning how to walk, what he looked like, what the mom's name was, and I made all these details about him. So I knew this kid inside and out, because I knew they were going to question me about it. And that first night, when we were all having emotional one-to-one, well, not one-on-ones, but as a group was talking, it was nighttime, we're lying out there, the stars are there, we're really connecting. It's when everyone got comfortable. I was like, hey, this is the time to say it. It's not only going to gain me trust, but if I need to use it in the end, it's going to work. And yeah, that's what I did.
Wow. Do you have any other thoughts on episode 3?
I kind of have a question for you. Yeah, you, because I remember.
Yeah, for sure.
In the middle of the night, when I just told the kid lie, you're like, "Oh, can I have a confessional?" And you found out that I made this lie about a kid, or I had something personal to say. What were you guys thinking, Teaghan, you two, when you found out that someone on this freaking YouTube series just told everyone he had a kid and he was completely lying about it?
I thought it was a great idea. I supported it.
Thank you.
I would have done the same. I'm surprised someone didn't try it sooner, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like,
do
almost anything to win, you know? It's $500.
Yeah.
Like, it's not... Yeah.
Exactly.
Jara?
Well, for me, I was giddy. I was actually really excited. I'm just when you said that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. This has never happened. I've seen all Survivor YouTube seasons that were available at that time, and I think you were the first one who has actually done something like that. So I was giddy. I was so excited.
I don't even think anyone's lied about having a kid on the real show yet. I don't think that's happened.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Actually.
Like, I think having, like, that sob story to tell the final tribal council, I'm shocked that hasn't happened yet. Like, a fake one, at least. Because I think that is an incredible way to justify yourself being a villain. Because I think that's a big excuse of why some people who maybe people will say should have won, which I do not support. Russell did not deserve to win. But if Russell comes into the final tribal council saying, look, my daughter has cancer. Does anything change? I know it sounds dark, but you gotta do what you gotta do to win.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but it was exciting to watch too because there's so many ways that it could go. Like you could get all caught up, or like say something wrong and then it could spiral out of control. But thankfully it didn't. Either way, it would make like made a great storyline. So it was win-win for the viewers and it was win for you.
Yeah. That's why I really went over before out there. I went over the details of the kid because they were asking so many questions like, "Oh, how old is he when he started walking?" And I was just like,
researched on like Wikipedia when he...
No, I didn't. I made it up. Not 9 months. And they're like, "Oh, that's quick." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you know he's physical. What can I say?" And it's like more extravagant the lie, the more believable it is. Because maybe they didn't believe me right away, which I think they did. I think asking them now, they might say, "Oh, I didn't really know." But, you normally don't think someone would lie about something like that. I know I wouldn't. If some person, this child, I'm like, oh my gosh, they probably have a kid.
Yeah, so true. Ugh. It was a good idea to not have the cameras around
Oh
while
yeah,
filming it.
that's something I
That's a
want.
little subtle thing too that
Yeah,
you
I
did.
wanted to make it like a private moment between me and the cast members, so I kept telling them, "You guys can't tell the cameras. Like, I don't want people knowing and stuff like that. It's very private." So they never thought, "Oh, maybe he's just doing this for TV," because like, no, he doesn't even want the cameras around. This must be serious.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I hope
Just
that
made
kind
it
of
more
proves I wasn't
believable.
just doing it for good YouTube either. I was kind of like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Make it more believable.
yeah, I was trying to, like, it was actually trying to help me win the game. That's what I thought it would, which it did, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So next episode 4. I would say the highlight from this episode. I actually really love this episode.
Me
It
too.
has underwater challenge. It has just great characterization. Well, my opinion, anyways. And the Chelman tribe wins through disqualification. What is the highlight from this episode for you, Tyler?
Um, this is the episode where I feel like Janelle and I bonded a lot. Because we were both like, there's a, okay, I'm going to get off a little off track. There's a big difference between being 17 and being 19. And 19 or older. I'm 19 now, and I was a completely different person. Well, not completely, but I felt like I was a different person. 17, I had different values and stuff. And so I think Ramel and Mike kind of were different from Janelle and I at that point. Janelle and I are both kids. We hate losing. Like, we're probably a bit more emotional. And we finally won that challenge. We're like, yes, we're so happy. And I think that's what actually bonded us together and made us stronger as Lions. So that was like, I remember a big moment for me. I'm like, she's crying out there. I comforted her. I have this great ally now. I think she's smart, and I hopefully use her to help me gain access in the game. So I just think that was just a good episode. Like, it's a very feel good episode for myself and my tribe, I feel like. And of course, Robbie goes somewhere in another tribe. Never really got to play with him, but yeah.
Awesome. Just I guess. We can talk about the Klahowya Tribal Council. Any opinion on
this is
that?
where Ben messes up his game.
Okay.
I think I don't think it's that he should have gotten rid of Hillary, but I think him and Jayzee should have gone with Hillary and Robbie and made a Final Four alliance after knowing Jenny was gone, because Jomar should have been the target for Ben. I think he should have sensed that Jomar did not have his best interest and should have sent him home, though. That's what I think he should have done, because Jomar was much more strategic watching it over than he actually was. I think most of them made a mistake, because I think Robbie would have been loyal to the tribe. So I think that it really didn't work out for any of them, except for probably Sean voting out Robbie.
Okay, do you have any other thoughts on this episode?
No, it's just a good feel-good episode. I like this episode. Not much to say about it.
Yeah, it's true.
From my point of view, at least.
Yeah. All right, next episode. Okay, so this is another one of the episodes that really features you. What do you think about it?
Well, I think this is the episode where the fans started liking me a bit more. Like, I think they've changed their minds about me. I think I emerge much more as like a character this episode, that I'm not just this gamebot. I'm here to have a fun time, because that's who I am. I don't want to be seen as a gamebot. I'm like, I am a goofy guy. I like making jokes, I like hanging around. And yeah, so I think that helped. But what you didn't see was we got a clue to the hidden idol this episode. And I didn't let anyone else find the clue. I picked up the clue on my own, did not show anyone, and I searched hard for that idol. Episode 5, I know said don't search for the idol. Everyone was searching for the idol that episode. That's the only thing you can do. You're just wasting time out there. So that's when I did find the idol too, is in episode 5, and that was just a big weight off the chest. And yeah, and that's how I felt about that episode. Yeah.
All right, so next episode, it's the merge. I love this episode as well. There's so many things that happen. First, there's Ben going through each other's bag. Just thoughts on that?
Poor Ben. Poor Ben. He doesn't know the show. In hindsight, his idea is good. like, yeah, it's good to make everyone go through their bags. The problem is it just rubs people the wrong way, and I think he should have known better of big personalities like Hillary, Tamara, and Jomar that they would not really appreciate this. I think on paper the idea is great and it makes people trustable more, but just poor Ben. I wish he didn't do that, but you know what? I don't think that really affected what happened to Ben in the end, though. So I don't think it was a crucial mistake.
Wow. Take me back to when it was happening during the merge. What was going through your mind? I'm pretty sure it was all over the place, or just paranoia probably happening.
Well, Ben and I had this kind of connection. We'd always like look at each other and kind of nod. So I was like, thank God Ben's still there. So let me go talk to him. Let me make Ben feel like he can trust me. And I think that's something I'm good at. I think I'm good at getting people liking me very quickly and trust me very fast. And I thought, just charm these people. Make them feel like I'm a nice, likable guy. And that's why I'm here. Don't play up that I'm smart, I'm good at the game, or anything like that. Just be the nice guy. And that's kind of what I did. I just told people what they wanted to hear. I told them I'm in the bottom of my tribe because I feel like no matter what, if you're in the minority or majority, if you're talking to the tribe, tell them you're at the bottom. Because people always want to pick up extra allies just in case. And you want to be everyone's trump card. You want everyone thinking, I can rely on this guy. So that was a big part of me just talking to everyone from the tribe. And I made an alliance with Ben, hoping he would flip. And I directed Micah and Janelle as a game plan. I was like, look, you guys get Sean and Hillary. That's like everyone had a job. I was supposed to get Ben, Micah was supposed to get Sean, and I think Janelle was supposed to get Hillary. But I think they both just worked together because they're a good pair, and they got them, and I was impressed. We all got the people we were supposed to get.
That's right. Yeah. Oh.
And I think that it also helped because we were used to the game at that point. We know how trouble works. I thought we were socially, I think we were the strongest people from our tribes. So I think, you had 3 very good players trying to sway a bunch of probably socially weaker players. Not that I wouldn't call Ben socially weak at the game. I think Ben's very socially strong. But I'd say Hillary and Sean were a bit more... Well, not Sean. Sean impressed me again. But at the time, that's how I felt. But I think Hillary, Jomar, and Tamara are socially weak at the game. I still think they don't get it. The game. To this day. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And no offense to them. Like, I'm not trying to be this demean. I think, I would say that they don't get it. And I think that really hurt their tribe. And especially them not being unified, which I said is very important from day one.
It's true. Do you think the fact that Klahowya only went to tribal once pre-merge, do you think that hurt them in the merge?
100%, yeah. You need to lose more than one challenge, or you don't get into the groove. This is their second tribal going into that they had to go to. And yeah, it's easy to say, hey, let's vote off those 3. But you don't really trust people until you go to tribal. So when you see things like me talking to Ben, or Sean talking to Janelle, if you're Tamara and Jomar, you're not used to seeing this. So you're going to have that paranoia still, because you still don't fully trust people. And I think that kind of implodes the tribe on itself. So I think it was just, a few things didn't go through everyone's agenda with 6 of them there. I think the tribe kind of just fell apart right there. I think very quickly the tribe was no more by the end of the challenge. Which is a great challenge. You should do that again. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, ended with Tamara's, breakdown. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, I feel like, again, socially weak. And no offense to Tamara, but that's kind of what did her in. Like, it's, no one trusts you after you break down and stuff. They're like, what could we go, because people are like, no one wants to work out with the stressed out breakdown person. People want confident allies who make them feel good. Working with someone who's always breaking down and crying doesn't make you feel good. You don't really trust that person. So I think that just, when she broke down, I was just like, well, it's time for me to relax. Stop playing so hard because it's still early merge. And that's why kind of like you don't see me as much as a force for the first few rounds of the merge. Because I'm like, okay, good. Things are naturally going into place. And if things are going the way you want it, in a good enough way, you shouldn't do anything. It's good to sit back and relax. The less game you talk, the better. You want to be able to get through the game with talking as little game possible. When people who are always talking game, that's when you get in trouble. I remember Janelle was pretty convinced she could get her brother. I saw her brother stubborn, but Janelle was convinced. So she goes up to Micah and I. She's like, guys, I tried. I'm so sorry. My brother's not going to flip. You know, he's with his lines. And I'm like, oh, Janelle, it's okay. It's okay. But we got to get rid of Tamara. Janelle wanted to get rid of Ben because that's what her brother wanted. And that's why Janelle's such a sweet girl. She wanted to be loyal to her brother. I appreciate that. It made me like her more because, you know, loyalty is important to me. If she's like, you know what, screw my brother. He's gone. I'd be like, all right. That's enough, Janelle. You're done. Like, she was like, if you're not going to be loyal to your own brother, why would you ever be loyal to me? So, I like that. But it also made me think, Jomar needs to go quickly. And I was begging Janelle and Mike at this point not to vote Ben, to vote Tamara. Because it was almost Ben for a point. I really had to make some cases of why it should be Tamara over Ben, when really I think it was in their best interest to get rid of Ben. But, you know, sometimes you got to push your own agenda. And I remember Mike and I convinced Micah first, and we both promised her, like, Janelle, look, we're not going to vote your brother out anytime soon. Just because Tamara's going doesn't mean Jomar's going to go anytime soon. She's like, okay, thank you guys. That's all I needed to hear. And I feel bad because, like, I like these people now, like, as friends, but it's just something you had to say. And, you know, especially because you know what happens with Jomar going next to double tribal. But I think it's important to point out because, yeah, Tamara leaves, but right after, you know, Ben wins immunity, the first thing that happened, Micah and I both turned to Janelle and were like, it's Jomar. Sorry, it's Jomar. We both knew. And, you know, that's how smart Micah is, recognizing that too. And, you know, it's just, I feel bad for Janelle that we made her do that. Or we lied to her anyways. Right. And so then Jomar had his freak out. And he was swearing at the tribal. He was pissed, right, when Tamara is gone. He was not happy.
Yeah. Well, what was going through your mind when I announced double tribal? You guys have to go vote again. I'm not asking you any questions.
I was happy with that. I was like, this is good. This is good because I felt like the other side kind of targeted Janelle and Micah. I felt like I was really off everyone's radar. So I felt like, good. I'm safe for another round. I have allies with Ben and Jayzee at this point. I have Janelle and Micah. I've been talking to Hillary quite a bit. There's a lot of situations where I can lean to. So I'll let whatever happens. This is good. It's another round to advance. And I think people need to realize that you do need options B, C, and D when you play this game. You can't rely on one alliance. And again, just relax. Let it happen. I was very happy with that double boot, and I was very relaxed during it. And I'm happy that Jomar did go. I'm happy I got my way.
All right. Wow. Okay.
All right.
So episode 7. Or unless
guys,
you have anything else to say.
I actually have to go.
Okay.
So how about we cut it here and then we do part 2?
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I'm totally good with that.
All right. After the movie, we'll figure out a time and date and stuff. But I'm liking this. This is really good, guys. I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
Last time we were talking about we had just finished episode 6 and it's the final 7. What were you thinking in terms of how you're going to survive the next round, who you're going to vote off?
Well, Ben became a pretty big target at that point. People really wanted him gone, but I wasn't ready for Ben to go. I thought I have Ben, by proxy I have Jayzee. And I know I have Janelle and Micah. Now, if I could keep those 2 groups to the final 5, I'm golden. I just need Sean or Hillary gone. So I started putting in Micah's head that Hillary was untrustworthy. We started to not really trust Hillary. She'd go off on her own a lot. She was definitely an outsider of the group, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I was getting people ready for her to go. I got Ben on board to get rid of her, and I'm sure Jayzee was. Mike was ready to go with her. And I was like, this is good. Hillary's probably going next. I know Janelle still wants Ben gone, but, I think we could pull it off still. Luckily, Ben won immunity, so it didn't matter anyways. But then Hillary comes up to all of us and says, all right, look, guys, if you're going to vote me out, just tell me. Let me know. And I'm like, okay, we'll let you know. But I was like, she has the idol. There's like 100%. And I go up to Ben and Mike and Janelle because they were kind of my closest group. And I was like, look, guys, we got to like either split the vote or we have to tell Hillary a fake plan and get her on board. And they're like, no, we should tell her and stuff like that. And I was like, what if she has the idol? And Ben looks me right in the eye and says, Tyler, if anybody has the idol, it's not Hillary. I know this for a fact. And I'm like, okay, it's all on you guys. And we walk back to camp, and Hillary looks at all of us and says, so guys, is it me? And everyone just walks away from her.
Yeah.
They just turn their heads, and I'm like, Hillary, let me talk to you quickly. And I pulled Sean and Hillary aside before tribal, and I was like, look, guy, Hillary, it's you. Like, you asked me if you wanted to know if it's you. You could probably tell, but people want you gone. She's like, oh, that's okay, I don't care. And I'm like, and that's when I'm pretty sure she is the idol.
Yeah.
And whose idea was it? And I'm like, Janelle. Janelle. Because I didn't know who to throw under the bus. I kind of pushed the idea. I was like, maybe we should get rid of Jayzee, though. Split up Ben and Jayzee. They're very strong. But I also wanted, like, another name out there. So I was pushing Jayzee, but Janelle was, like, a back thought for me. Now we're sitting at tribal. I'm whispering back and forth with Hillary and Sean. And Hillary says to both of us, just vote for me. It's all good. And I don't really remember the questions you were asking that tribal because I'm kind of nervous right now. Like, she does have the idol. She wants us to vote for her. But who's she going to vote for? Is she going to vote Janelle? Is she going to vote Jayzee? Could she vote me, maybe? And I was considering maybe voting, like, Jayzee myself. But I was like, if this doesn't work out, though, I can really screw up my game here. So I just wrote her name down, did I was told, and Janelle was gone. I was shocked it was Janelle. I didn't think she'd actually go through with that. That was surprising to me.
Yeah, wow.
And Janelle even was kind of a blessing in disguise because I saw her as one of my close allies, but she's also my biggest threat.
Right.
I knew very soon, like Final 6, Final 5, I need to get rid of Janelle. She can't go any further. She will probably win. So this was just like, it couldn't have worked out better. I was like, Janelle's gone. Mike is 100% with me now. I still have Ben. I still have Jayzee, kind of. Hillary trusts me now. This is good. And everyone was after Hillary. I didn't think I could be in a better situation after that.
Yeah. You and Ben had a really close bond, but in the final 6, you end up voting him out. What were you thinking?
I was thinking, what a shitty situation I'm in right now. I really did bond with Ben out there. I think I'm closest with Ben from the season even.
Right.
And it was very hard to let him go. Except I tried to convince Hillary maybe Sean should go home, even though it was her closest ally. Micah was putting her foot down because she's like, Hillary won immunity. She's like, no, this only makes sense. Like, there's nothing else to do. And Hillary just played the idol, so I couldn't use the argument that we should split the votes between Jayzee and Ben and then me do something. So I was like, look, I'm either going to Rocks where I risk my whole game or I just send Ben out now. I think it would have benefited my game a bit more to keep him around maybe a round or two, but in the end, it wasn't worth the risk, and I just had to do it. I was thinking, I don't want to look back at here saying I stuck my neck out for a friend and I get burned because of it. Because I did not go there to make friends. I mean, the friendship I have with him now, I probably wouldn't have done that. But at the time, I was thinking, look, I don't know how close this friendship's going to be after the game. So I'm not going to risk it now. If it was today, I would have 100% risked it. I would have gone to Rockstar Ben, and I will, for All-Stars. It comes down to it.
Awesome, nice. I think the fact that you were possibly a target when Jayzee went home, I think that really showed just, I guess a close call, or was it a close call? Do you think it was a close call for you when Jayzee went?
I felt something. I felt like I was in danger, and I was really. I didn't mention this. So one of my strategies after Hillary played her idol was I didn't want anyone to hit a one-on-one with her because she was public enemy. That's all I need. That's all we need to know. Hillary's going home. She doesn't have another idol.
Right.
Let's send her home. And I knew she had dirt on us. I knew she had good arguments of why they should work with her. So I never really let anybody talk to Hillary one-on-one the best I could. And Final 5 hit before the challenge. That was my biggest thing. I was like, look, no one can talk to Hillary. No one can talk to Hillary. Because Final 5 is the only time where I think it made 100% sense for every single one of them to vote me out. I think I should have gone at Final 5. That was everybody's best interest. And I don't think it was close to happening. I think Hillary wanted it, but I think Sean and Micah were not down to because Jayzee had voted Sean last round, and I think they trusted me because of that, and they didn't trust him. But it took a lot of work to not get them talking to Hillary and stuff like that. I think that's something you need to people who are watching the show don't understand is how it's actually hard to strategize with people. You can't just have a one-on-one whenever you want because it looks too shady and you don't have that much time with them. So I just didn't let people talk to them. I would talk to Hillary one-on-one. That Hillary and I actually had a long conversation about us working together. The whole time, that wasn't to gain any interest with Hillary or anything like that. That was just so she's not talking to them. And I guess it did work out. Yeah, 100% worked out what we were talking about.
Yeah, you end up winning. Before we start talking about the finale episode, do you have any other thoughts regarding the Final 7 to Final 5 portion?
No, it was really just I felt like the game took a change at that point, and all my ducks were in a row, but it's Survivor. Your ducks may be in a row, but there's always an earthquake going on, and I was just trying to make sure everything's going to plan out okay. I had my path. It was very wobbly, and they needed to make sure everything went crystal clear through the game. And it did in the end, but it's kind of just like making sure everything's okay. That was kind of my game from that point.
Right. Yeah, well, I guess in the Final 4, Final 3, and even the Final 2, what were huge standout moments for you?
In the Final 4, I remember I was thinking, see, when you're out there, you kind of can sense what kind of challenges are going to come up. I don't know how to explain it, but everyone seems to know. And there was this knowledge around that a Survivor trivia challenge was coming up. And I thought it was going to be Final 4, but I wanted to make it in everyone's mind that it's Final 4 or Final 3 in case Hillary won, so you guys need me there so I can make sure Hillary loses. That was my thing. But I thought for sure it was going to be Survivor trivia. I thought it was going to knock it out of the park. And in the end, the challenge was the challenge for the short people. Who can do this? And I thought, she's got this. Like, there's nothing I can do. Yeah. And when Sean won that challenge, it was just a relaxation went through my whole body. Like I was calm at that point. Right. Like calmness. It was great. So that moment of Sean winning the Final 4 challenge was fantastic. There was no question that Hillary wasn't going to go. It was pretty much decided right there.
Yeah, for sure.
And in Final 3 was such an interesting time because you guys didn't see the Fallen Comrades, but it was just very relaxing. Like I understand what they mean now. And like the Final 3, I was like, I know there's a chance I may not make the Final 2, but there's nothing to shame to do with the Final 3. I've made it. Like great Survivor players always make the Final 3, and I was just relaxed and ready to do the final challenge. I was convinced it was going to be endurance because it's the Final 3. Ends up being something with a blindfold, which is much harder than it looks. Like, you guys don't even know. Like, it was terrible. But no, it's just a relaxing feeling. But once Micah won immunity, and I asked her, I was like, so are we still going to Final 2? She said, I don't know. I was like, this could be it. Because why on earth would she take me over Sean? So I was at peace with going home in a way at the Final 3. I said everything I could. I guess I was overly paranoid, but in the end, she just stuck to Chum and loyalty, which I've been trying to put in everyone's brain with the unity thing since episode 1. What's my whole thing with Chum? We need to be unified. That's our only way to win. And I guess it paid off.
Right, yeah. and I guess Final Tribal Council. I guess watching back, anything you would like to change or anything?
Oh yeah, a lot of it. I felt I came off too calculated in my Final Tribal. Like I didn't like my performance in that spectrum. I thought they kind of assumed I played a very good game. Because to me, I knew everything I did. I knew all the lies I told, all that stuff. And I didn't realize how little they knew of how I played. So I probably would have answered Jomar's question about differently and laid out how strategically I played. And instead of just constantly saying, oh, I played strategically and I did this. I wish I laid out the moves I actually made more and talked about more also on my connections and who I am as a person.
Right.
To win the game. Because they didn't know me as well as Micah. And I think some of them voted for Micah because they knew Micah. They didn't know me. And of course, that kid lied, though. That I'm proud of. That's one of the very few things I'm proud of. I'm glad I did it. I thought it was hilarious. And it couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, exactly. You were able to sway Tamara's vote.
Yeah. And I think people were much more, like, you don't know. People were much more emotional at the tribal in person than they were on camera. I don't know if you remember, but I feel like people were very emotional during that tribal.
Oh yeah, I felt that too. I just wasn't able to really show it in the episode.
Yeah, like I don't want to say it was just because of the kid lie. I think Survivor really is emotionally exhausting for everybody, and I think it was just like we're done, we're getting this over with. So I think everything, even 3 days of Survivor, man, it takes a lot out of you. I'm a pretty emotionless guy, but even me, after like voting people out and stuff, I'm still kind of thinking, I feel bad for Ben. And going into the game, I didn't think I'd feel bad about voting anyone out. So it's interesting how that happens.
Yeah, wow. You said last time that you didn't think your status as a super fan was why you won. Could you sort of just more elaborate on that?
I think there's a lot of luck that goes into Survivor. That's a thing. But I think there's a lot of luck of just who you are as a person, what personality type you are, and who you are. I think I have a natural personality that makes me good at things like Survivor. I think there's a lot of players out there who just have a very good personality that makes them good at the game. Naturally, people like them, they want to work with them and stuff like that. I know it sounds like I'm bragging a bit, but I think that's the truth. No one knew me, yet they all felt inclined to trust me and want to work with me. There's nothing I said that a super fan would say that makes people trust you.
Right.
And I think you can use your super fandom as a strategic tool and kind of understand the game and know the moves. But at the end of the day, you need the social connections, you need the friendships to further your own game, or no one's going to want to work with you. And even if you do make the end, they're not going to want to vote for you.
All right, so I guess really just to finish off, I'm wondering if any viewers or if any fans have like messaged you in your Survivor Kanata appearance.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of people who have watched it or kind of knew me before because I've been like into like the online Survivor games a tiny bit, not as much as it used to be. But yeah, I know people have asked me about it, asked me like the people who play orgs and stuff like that, say, oh, how different it is. It's completely different. It's much more difficult even in a 3-day thing than an org. Like, and you don't understand unless you play it. A lot of just people from Facebook have messaged me, asked me a few questions. I'm always happy to answer. You can always message me. I'm one of them still. I'm just a fan who loves Survivor. And I'll always be. And I'm really lucky I got to do this. And I think if anyone ever has the opportunity to do this, they should.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler, for giving us this sit down of Survivor Kanata. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, buddy. Anytime.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you later.
See you later, man.